What up, everybody? Scuffy here, and it's time for ourselves to do another deck list video. I'm trying to get through them. I've been hyped to play Astelan for a while. I've played Astelan a bunch in the events, fought for Astelan to be added as the fourth Defenders of Caliban warlord, as it was. Merir Astelan, boy oh boy, howdy, this guy. This guy's got a record, shall we say. He is the Erebus of the Dark Angels. He really is. But really an awesome ability. It lends a lot of strength to combos in a whole different way, because instead of comboing with tactics, he combos with his troops, specifically, more importantly, infantry as the faction. The Defenders of Caliban really heavy focus on infantry, but just any sort of troops. So he's really nice. Now, as a result of that, I've had a lot of fun games with him. I haven't played him a whole as heavy as I think others have. I found a deck that works. I stuck with it, and I'm happy with it, and I don't think there's any need to push it beyond where it is at. I think there are some certain matchups that give it a run for its money, but overall, feeling pretty good about that. And I think if you haven't seen Merir Astelan, you want to check him out, I think this video is going to be good for you. If not, if you're like, I'm tired of seeing Astelan, well, sorry, this is one that I've been wanting to do since he was teased as a fourth warlord, so I understand the salt. There is salt, or if it's just sour. Is it salt? Is it sour? Is it sweet? Is it tangy? Tangy is a flavor too. So we're going to do some Astelan gameplays. I'll break down the deck that I've got. There's a couple of choices that I do. I don't know if everybody else does. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe you've seen them before, but at least you might understand the thought process as to why some cards are used, and then talk about the hard matchups for this deck, because by no means is this deck unbeatable. It certainly isn't. It's a very straightforward deck, and it can really get the ball rolling, but it has also got some pitfalls that it faces. So let's take a look here, a couple replays, and we'll come right back. Okay, we are going to go with Perturabo. How about that? I couldn't do, for whatever reason, I'm not sure why the Lehman Russ game was buggy. The replay here for Perturabo should be better. But this is a faction, the Iron Warriors, that's a problematic thing. Like, don't get me wrong, that's a good start. Local Uprising is a strong start, but Perturabo being able to do the direct damage, he's got the counterattack, he's got viral bombs. It's a very fragile state for the Defenders of Caliban, especially for an Astelan build. But I wanted to bait out that counterattack. Now that that's out of the way, I'm going to put down more Jaegers, and we're set to go for Ping City. It'll take a lot of damage, but if I can keep the pressure up and hopefully avoid the major pitfalls, then I think we'll be doing okay. I think we're going to be doing okay. The Caliban Knight, give myself another Jaeger. Gives me the option to do 4 damage plus 3 from my Warlord's ability on the next turn. That's 7 damage to his 6. So I feel pretty good about that. That's alright. Those barricades, I'm not really going to be attacking, but the barricades are definitely fodder for later things, right? For him, viral bombs is probably the biggest one, as well as just preventing him against actual troops that are going to be doing phase strike attacks. So one key thing with Astelan that you want to have, especially when you've got the Caliban Knight out, is you use all your Jaegers, you kill a Jaeger, you make a Jaeger. You don't lose any that way. You really have to watch out with his ability, because his ability, he cannot create a troop. If you've got ones on board, he has to destroy one to deal 3 damage. That's not too terribly hard to do, because you're going to have lots of troops on the board, very cheap troops, but you want to make sure you're able to maintain that, and that's why cards like Alahos Squad, Caliban Knight, local uprising. Those are so important for him. And we are building towards this behind enemy lines. If he doesn't get rid of things, this will be devastating. He's at the turn where he can really bring out a viral bombs and wipe a bunch of stuff out, and he is still up on me by 6 health, so that is a problem. He's not playing it, so he either doesn't have it or he hasn't drawn it, so I've got to press the advantage while I can. Giving me card draw, I appreciate that. Just gonna keep plugging away. Zarian is a nice ability. Now, because I've got Zarian in my hand, I know I can get rid of that, take out a Zarian, and deal a whopping 5 damage, and that will even the field here, as well as give me some troops on the board. So, we're looking good. We're looking good. We've got the Act Again feature from the Caliban's Crusade, Pride of Caliban. So it's going to keep things tight. Lethal range, though. Now I'm at lethal range, right? So this is problematic. He could hit me with a Contrador, with a precision bombardment, and I'm out. So I've got to take advantage while I can, do a lot of damage here. Are we ready to rock the behind enemy lines? Yes, we are. We're going to keep that short and sweet. And that's lethal right there, between that and the face strike from the Warlord. And that's game 1. So let's see if we can find another non-buggy replay. Okay, now this game here, this is against a Fail deck, which is going to be a fun matchup because Fail has got the ability to flank. So he has a natural counter ability to Astelan's build. Astelan's build, as you saw in the last game, is to get troops on the board. Get a lot of troops on the board. The problem with that is they're all low health troops, low attack troops. So Fail is able to put troops on his board, give all of his troops flank, take care of all of the little puny pews troops that you've got, and really cause havoc. So I can't let him have troops on the board. I've got to force him to put lots of troops on the board and use his ability for mass flank, or he will suffer, as he's doing here. Like this, he's got 1 troop, he's going to use his 1 to take out my 1. It's actually a smart play because it leaves that troop on the board. It takes out the Jaeger, which is really kind of a problem troop anyways. And we're just going to go with what we've got. I've got some strong troops in hand. I like that. I'm going to keep my counterattack now that I've got the Pride of Caliban on. I might be able to make good use of that. We'll see. That's a strong troop for him to throw out, so I'm not thrilled about it. But I'm hoping I might just make something work here. We're going to take a little bit of a gamble. We're going to throw down that Zarian, see if that hits the Ogren, and it does. So then we're going to take my counterattack and we're going to shuffle that off. I don't want to use it that way. It's not my favorite use of it, but it certainly does do the job. And of course he's going to flank and keep my board clear. We're going into the energy turn here. We're pretty even Steven. Haven't taken a whole lot of damage, right? Haven't taken a whole lot of damage. But on the plus side, I'm also not out of resources. I've got quite a few cards in my hand. Now, Tyus is very nice. He's got that Duplessis, he's got that 5/6, but this is, again, prime example of what Fail can do. He's got to create a troop. He's got to flank. And this just looks like a standard Fail. This isn't even like a desperate defense Fail, which right now would probably have my energy hampered. Might be up at 10 energy themselves and throwing down desperate defense builds. So This is just your basic fail, but the fail is a hard, I can't say hard counter. He's a hard match, no doubt about it. This is the dream right here. This is the dream I've yet to have. Praetor Castrol. It can happen. I've seen it happen. I played it a few times in events, but in standard play, it's harder to do than you think. But the threat of it, the simple threat of it happening, is often enough to make your opponent really pull out some desperate plays. So, small troops are not going to do for me. I've got to go big or go home. And I'm going to drop down the big bodies that I've got. I'm okay with that. See the bunker and I see the front line. I know that this is just your standard fail. He's really just kind of banking on giving his stuff flank, creating troops. And that's probably it. Like maybe getting off that underground fort early in the game, but nothing huge, nothing devastating. Give ourselves Malkiel. Now Malkiel is good early game. Late game, he's really just a body to throw around. I won't lie, that's really what he is. But we still have a very large Coriel Seth. Or Coriel Zeth? Seth or Zeth? Zeth. Coriel Zeth. And this, I think, is a missed opportunity here for him. I don't know why he went with Malkiel. Malkiel poses no problem whatsoever on the following turn. I don't know if he just attacked because he, didn't realize about the backlash. Like, that cost him a card. I'm not sure. Maybe he was afraid of the damage. That's possible. That's possible, right? Use my ability to attack again if I want. We're just going to put pressure on those, what we're going to do. I want to have troops, even though he can very easily dispose of them. I want to have troops on them. And I'm surprised I guess he was just going for taking no damage. Not sure. I'm not entirely sure, guys. But having Pride of Caliban really opens up a lot of combos with the troops. You put an infantry and troop, you get to act again. I've got 2 more troops in hand that are infantry. Guess what? That's another act again. Either that sibilance was going to bounce, or that damage was going to go to the troop and then bounce it, or either which way I was going to be at advantage there. So that is a fail build. Let's take a look at the deck. Let's talk about the deck a little bit. So this is just, I can't say your standard, but it probably is a standard Merir Astelan deck. You have Jaegers. Do I need to have actual Jaegers in my deck with a warlord who can create a Jaeger? Maybe. Maybe primarily because of, as you saw there, with the combination of Pride of Caliban. Sometimes just having that one extra act again is enough to do the job, and having a low-cost infantry troop works. I don't know if I need to have 2, but I'd like to have 2 in there because I use it with Betrayal, and I have 1 Betrayal in there because on those games where I am facing an opponent who has a frontline entourage, this can deal a lot of damage. It can do a lot of direct damage that just surprises your opponents. And the same reason that Caliban's Crusade is in here as a 1-up. Now you'll note I don't have any, except for Command Bridge, I don't have any other Chaos cards in my deck, so I could squeeze in a second Caliban's Crusade. Healing 5 is so big. I've had turns where I've healed 5 and I've played Betrayal in the same turn, and it swung the game dramatically. Because you're talking about me going up 5 and them going down like 6. And then that's an 11-point swing for 8 energy, or for 6 energy rather. Command Bridge is important though to get any sort of tactic, whether it's behind enemy lines, irresistible charisma, Pride of Caliban most importantly, but not the only one, or Betrayal for late game. You've got Lord Malkiel, as I said, early game he's great for ramping, for getting a couple higher cost guys out there, maybe a 4 cost Caliban Night Out 1 turn earlier, as well as being an infantry. He's not necessary. This guy is probably on the chopping block as far as one of 3 or 4 cards that I would trade out for something else, but he does have his uses. He could very easily just be a Kaiser lane and give me something probably better. But I'm sticking with Malkia because he's got Duplicitous, and I'm trying to build just kind of your general Duplicitous build here. Romuald, this is your legendary. He's good. Sibilance is a solid epic for Astelan because the Defenders of Caliban really don't have great hard removal. They do have hard removal. They have Covenant of Death, which destroys random enemy troop for each of your friendly troops, and then you get rid of all of your troops. So this is really a board clearing hard removal. The problem is, I don't want that. I want to keep my troops. So keeping troops is good if I get rid of 1 troop with Astelan's ability for 4 energy. I play a Sibilance, I deal 3 damage to a random enemy, and then I return 1 of their troops to their hand and they have to play it over again. So it has uses. What also, this is a favorite combo that many people will tell you about, is Irresistible Charisma at 8 energy. Astelan steals their troop, uses it against them, and then kills it. And then deals 3 more damage for whatever attack that they had. That's just a strong late game play. Las Rifle section, again, just a rally, deal 1 damage. I have him in here to deal with other Jaeger builds. I find that's very nice. Throw that down. He can take them out. Also, the Tarshan squad, as you saw, this is great flankers. They draw. They've got good backlash. They've got decent attacking. Zarian. Before I had Zarian in here, I had a couple more tactics, and they were inconsistent. I think Zarian puts a lot more pressure on that Astelan needs to put on. He needs to have this pressure on early on. If you can hit a Zarian on curve on 4 energy and deal 5 damage to your opponent's warlord, plus have a 4/4 body on the field, it really speeds up your timer, and your timer really falls in that 8 to 10 energy. If you are going 10 energy for too long, your strategy will fall apart. I had Caliban's Heart in here before. For Astelan, it doesn't work great. It works okay for Luthor. It works really good in certain Cypher builds. It can work okay with Zahariel. But for Astelan, it really isn't. It really isn't great. You should have a board full of Jaegers prior to that. You should have your behind enemy lines ready to go at 8 energy as opposed to 9 energy. 1 turn makes a world of a difference. It's super important. Coriel Zeth is nice because Coriel Zeth is an 8 energy body that's got backlash, destroy an enemy troop. So even at in a pinch, if you really need to, you could attack with Coriel Zeth, do 8 damage, kill Coriel Zeth, deal 3 damage, and then destroy an enemy troop. This is a great legendary card for this deck. It's a neutral, it's a legendary, I understand that, but it is a really good one to play in there. And Brand of Fire, I love flanking, I love rally damage dealing. This can affect your opponent's warlord. We talked about Praetor Castiel. Just the threat of Praetor Castiel really forces your opponent to deal with the 6/6, and sometimes that involves them attacking it with their face. And okay, I mean, take 6 damage. I don't mind. It's that, or you get 2 extra Jaegers. It's not a big deal. But these guys are solid costing troops with a very solid effect that supports this deck in a solid way. That's 3 solids. That makes a dense card that's going in the deck. And I think that really is my tweaks on it. I've got maybe the Caliban Jaegers, the Las Rifle section, the Betrayal, and maybe the Zeth. I don't know. I feel like Zeth should be a natural inclusion in there, but I could be wrong. I feel like those are my own choices. But they're not the only choices that exist. Let's take a look at one more game here, and then we'll take a look at some options as far as what you could include in your deck, and also what the weaknesses, what the big problems, blind spots for this deck are. Okay, so this game is going to be against Cypher. It's not as exciting as the Rust game I wanted to show you, but unfortunately that replay was buggy, so I can't show you that. Cypher, knowing that he's a Defenders of Caliban troop, he's going to be playing similar cards as me. It's really about getting more troops on the board than he has, and then I'm kind of seeing if he's playing Desperate Defense. Because there are Desperate Defense Cypher builds that people have honed in on that think they're like the end-all be-all. They're really not. They're very predictable, and they're actually very thwartable. It's a very fragile Desperate Defense deck, and if you go hard tilt at it, you have got an advantage. Now I see Sophpic, and right off the bat I'm thinking Desperate Defense, because you can pull this guy out, use his ability, and then I'll play Desperate Defense for 0 energy on your 8 energy turn. So that's a possibility, right? So let's hit him hard, let's hit him fast, let's do everything we can to put the edge in our favor. Like just one card sometimes when you're playing a game, they play one card and you're like, okay, that's enough for me to know that that's what your strategy is. We've got the Tarshan squad to deal with the flanking. It's going to give me points, it's going to give me damage. In the meantime, I'm building a board, I'm going to do more damage. I've got that behind enemy lines ready to go. Even if he were to drop Desperate Defense at 8, I can follow it up with my behind enemy lines and wipe out everything. So I just have to keep that pressure going strong. I've got Romuel, I've got Laho squad to refill my board because it looks like I'm going to need to do that, right? Let's refill that board, baby. Betrayal, which is going to be a nice setup to cook with. As I said, Betrayal late game, just with the Laho squad and Betrayal, that's 6 energy. Let's say I don't have any other troops on the board. That's 2 plus 2. It's 4 damage for 6. Plus I have 2 other troops on the board with Duplicitous. You gain from there. If I've got other troops already on the board prior to that, that's even more so, right? And he's pulling War Room. He's got all the trademarks for this card. Now, the only thing that I think he could throw out that would surprise me, not terribly, but would be Caliban's Heart. Just because at 8 energy, that's always a strong play anyways. That's never a wrong way to go, you know? And we're going to throw down his siblings to put some pressure on, so if he throws down a big nasty, I can get rid of siblings and get rid of it. Takes a big gamble here. And all the tactics. We are playing even Steven. It is my race to his, right? So we're going to do what we can. We're going to put some pressure out. We're going to add some heat to that pressure. As now I know I can end it with Betrayal if he doesn't destroy my troops. And he's not going to, and we're good to go. I was surprised that he went with the draw there. I thought he might go with a heal, but I think he was really fishing for something. And I think, you know, while this may be a Desperate Defense Cypher, I think from the cards that he played and the way he played them, I think he's overdone himself a little bit. I don't think he would have gone off that turn anyways, but he could have. And if he was, I had the behind enemy lines as well as the face strike, so I was already set. I was in a good place to go. But that can be a problem with Astelan and the Defenders of Caliban in general, is those high cost Desperate Defense decks, right? If you don't go into it right away, if you don't go full tilt and get all the damage out as quickly as you can, 10 drop cards, regardless of what faction they come from, 10 drop cards, these stats will chew up 1/1 Jaegers night and day. One single Doombringer will wreck your board every time, and that is why people are playing with Doombringer or 2 copies of Doombringer if they can. This is a strong card to begin with, but the fact that it can just decimate certain builds is definitely some heat And that's one reason why I've got the betrayal, because sometimes even though I don't have a board, if I can build a quick, like with 10 energy, I can play a Laho squad, I can play local uprising, I can use my ability. That's 1, 3, 6 energy, and then I can throw down betrayal for 9 energy and deal 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1. So that's what? 2 plus 2. Math. 6, 7. I can deal 7 direct to my opponent's warlord. Now that's a desperate gamble, but the fact is, I can do it, and that's important, and that's why I've got that card in my deck. So let's talk about some cards that you could put in if you don't have the ones that I've got. What are the options here for the Defenders of Caliban? I think number 1, Uncertain Allegiance. This is a great card. I like this card. I like it more with Cypher, but giving Duplicitous to your warlord for 1 turn is sometimes game winning. If you're facing an Angron, he's already used his fast troops or whatever, like Duplicitous, you can attack my Duplicitous troops, or you can't attack anything at all, and it buys you a turn to set up your next combination. That's a good of as a one-off, right? Also, as I mentioned, a second Caliban's Crusade. You could throw in Obsidian 02. That's not bad. It gives you a front line. The problem with this one is a lot of the synergy that Astelan has is giving up your troops. And the Astartes recruits are nice troops, and I would hate to give them up to deal 3 damage. More importantly, I really don't want to give up a frontline troop to deal damage. So you could get rid of that. You could put that in there if you wanted to. You could put in Strategic Mastery. I see a lot of builds running Strategic Mastery, getting a bunch of Caliban Jaegers out early and then playing Strategic Mastery with like a war room or something, to go get it with their command bridge. But if you don't have troops on the board, if your opponent is smart, or they have flanking, or they have constant direct damage, widespread damage, your Strategic Mastery is going to be a dead card for most of the game. And that I don't like. That's just me. That's personally me. Champion of the Order, you could put in place if you don't have a Tyus. I think at some point they're okay, but they're not great. But they are 5/5. I see a lot of people playing with Sergeant Yofiel as well, throwing down a Sergeant Yofiel after 2 or 3 Jaegers have done their pings, and then have the Jaegers act again. And that's not a bad option if you don't have a Tyus. I think both of those 5-drops are good. Do not include Nightly Fortress. Do not include Racing the Banner. I see people use this. And it boggles my mind. I don't know if they're just thinking that they'll get more Jaegers. The Jaegers that come out with Raising the Banner don't have flank, so they don't do anything for you on that turn. At best, you just drew 3 cards. This is just an overcosted card. It's great in events, but this is a trap. Avoid this at all costs. If you need to have card draw, go with Lactitio, go with Arvis Lighter, which is a great versatile card for 1 energy. Go with Kaiza Lane to give you cards, or go with Remembrancer Order. Cards that create cards that drew like 1 or 2 cards as opposed to drawing 3. This is just not a way to go. And then Caliban's Heart. I talked about it. I feel like Caliban's Heart is a good card, maybe as a one-of. As a one-of, you could put it in there. I wouldn't recommend throwing in 2 of them in there. I think if you dilute your deck with too many tactics, you're not going to be able to consistently get the troops. Yes, this is a tactic that gets you troops, but really, in looking at the build, the majority of my energy curve is on 3 and 4, because 3 and 4 allows me to combo more often and more frequently and at an earlier rate. At 8 energy, I can do 2 cards, or I can maybe do 3, like my ability and 2 cards at most. But at 10 energy, if I've got 3s and 4s, I could potentially switch in there 3 to 4 cards if I've got it, if I juggle it right, or if I've got things on the board. It's possible to do it that way. So, and then throw in my ability, or if I've got the Pride of Caliban and I'm acting again, comboing off of that. So that's why that 3 to 4 cost is so important. High cost cards are great, but you want to keep them limited in this deck because it limits your comboing. And at the same time, that makes this deck susceptible to high cost card opponents that can very quickly wipe the board. And when you're playing your opponent, you have to keep an eye out, see what it is that they're playing, and be ready to adjust for that card. Be ready to beat them before they play their desperate defense. Be ready to steal their big nasty troop with irresistible charisma. There's nothing fun like stealing their Devourer of Worlds, hitting them for 15-15, and then killing it, and then boom, an extra 3 damage. It's 18 damage, and they lost that big nasty demon that they were so happy to throw down. It's a gamble, and quite frankly, they should have expected that. But sometimes people take those risks and they pay for it, and sometimes they take the risks and it pays off. Overall, guys, I'm satisfied with this Astelan build, and again, I don't think it's a major shakeup from what you may already have been seeing for the last month. It's just taken me a long time to get to it. I've had the card by cards, I've had the events, I've had the podcast. I've got a lot of stuff going on, and I really want to keep plugging that stuff. So if you haven't listened to the podcast, the Warp Chatter podcast, it is available on most listening platforms. Give that a listen. But it's hard to get around to some of these things. Like I just did the Tactus Proctor video. Let's beg out of there. I just did the Proctor video. Doing this video, I've got to do parts 1 and 2 of the Imperial Army card by cards, as well as update videos. So time is sparse, and while I have it, I want to enjoy the most I can. So it's been a while for me to get to him, and I want to showcase what I do with him. And I hope if you haven't already dabbled, or you're curious to dabble, give him a try. I think the warlords for the Defenders of Caliban all have some interesting stuff. I haven't started on Luthor yet. One day I'm going to get to this guy. But I have done videos for Zahariel, I've done a video for Cypher, and I'm doing a video for Astelan. I really enjoy the faction. I do. And I like how each of those warlords plays completely differently. And I really enjoy factions that do that. The Blood Angels did that as well. The Dark Angels kind of do that. You could argue that I think Red Loss and Russ kind of have a similar strategy, but I think overall they play differently. I just enjoy factions when every warlord can take a different approach to how the faction plays, and that's really cool, and the Defenders of Caliban are no exception to that. So I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope it has intrigued you. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. I am working hard. I'm working hard to break the YouTube algorithm, bust through it, crack the code, get to 800 subscriptions before the end of summer 2021. I need your help. Spread the word, spread the knowledge for those who aren't aware that this channel exists. I have been doing videos for over 3 years. I really enjoy this game. I cannot seem to fathom why I have such low recommendations. And if there is a reason that you know why I have such low recommendations, let me know so I can improve. Am I missing certain taglines? Is it just not coming up in your search? Is it the quality of the videos? I am all ears and open to criticism. So I believe Imperial Fist spoilers are coming down the pipe. It's time. Till next time, keep playing Legions. Bye.